Hi, hello, and welcome, or welcome back, I suppose. Something a little bit different today. Not in terms of what I'm talking about, we're still talking about comics and graphic novels and that kind of thing, but no speed draw today, just my lovely face in the middle of a breakout, just what you need. And we're going to be talking about some indie books. This video was going to be a little bit different. There is Zelda hair all over this fucking microphone. This video was going to be a little bit different, but I had to make some changes. So if I've mentioned other books that I was meant to be reading today and you're wondering, hey, where's that? It's not going to be showing up. There are reasons for it, good reasons, but instead we made changes. It is what it is. But we're going to be talking about some indie books today. All of these I found at Comic-Cons. The first two that I'm going to be talking about I found at MegaCon in Manchester this year. And the last one is I got from Wales Comic Con back in 2022. I think it was back end of 2022. So yeah, let's just get on with it. First up we have Blobby Horror, compiled by Erica Price with Frisson Comics. It is, well, let's just read the blurb, it makes life easier. Blobby Horror is a descent into the annals of a half-remembered childhood, one that was mostly happy, but one that was also inhabited by him. A collection of cursed comics and illustrations from 17 artists who scarcely survived their encounters with the blobbed entity. Gaze upon his horrors and weep for mercy from Mr. Blobby. Suggestive for mature readers, absolutely understandable. It is a horror book at the end of the day, and some of it is kind of nasty, but I will say off the bat, the horror in this is very much with knowing humour. Some of it is genuinely quite frightening, and even though it is funny, but yes, this is all told through the lens. I mean, it's about Mr. Blobby, for God's sake. The book opens with a letter from, I can't remember his fucking name. Noel Edmonds. It opens in a darkly funny way, with this not just being a letter being like, oh, I was approached to comment on this collection. It ends with him having apparently game ended himself, you can see on my lovely notes. Could I have shown a picture in there rather than picked it up? Yes. And for other panels, I probably will do that, but I can just show that one because I'm not showing an individual little panel. Yeah, it starts off like that, and I was like, oh, here's the tone set for that, which is good. And it generally, that's the tone carried through. And there are little things mentioned here that kind of carry through as well. None of these are connected beyond being connected by Blobby. There's no running through line or anything like that, but there are little things that carry throughout, like the idea that Noel is either a protective father figure for Blobby, or that he is Blobby's kind of creator / god. It is all very funny, the way that we get the descriptions between, the descriptions of the relationship between Blobby and Noel, and it's really fucking weird. But I don't know, R.I.P. Noel Edmonds, I guess. Is he okay? An okay person? I'm not gonna find out that he's a nonce or something. Oh, I really hope he's not a nonce. Not that I think he is, it's just that kids television presenters from a certain point in time, do you know what I mean? I hope not. Blobby is. I have no shame saying that. I bet Blobby is, but he's just a bit of a freak. Okay, yeah, something I have to talk about, and I'm not turning to the first comic and being like, oh, okay, I have a bit of a pet peeve with this book. Well, it's not pet peeve, it's just an annoyance. Is that we don't have an introductory panel I'm not saying a whole page with full illustration or anything. It would be nice to have an introductory panel for each story rather than... So at the end of story 1, we have... On the left, we have that was by Sarah Gordon. Some have titles, some don't. And on the right, we have that the next story is by Jabe Jackson. And I'm sorry, I don't know how to say this. I will put it on screen. I assume it's Italian. It looks Italian. I'm not just going to rip that out because it's not something I can see and kind of guess at phonetically. But I just really wish that there was more. I don't. Sorry, it's hard for me to explain because it's fine. It was just an annoyance that I had, partly because I had to take notes for everything, so I had to go back and forth a little bit. But I just think it looks neater with a cover for each story, even if it is just even if you carry on like this, where in between the every other story, it's not every other story, is between 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. Even if that's where you have some little illustrations, some extra stuff about it, maybe, or whatever, it's just this was on pages 4 to 8, this is on pages 10 to 15, that kind of thing. That's fine, even if they looked the same. I just would have liked a little bit, maybe just above the first panel, Sarah Gordon, and then on any of the ones that have a name, just like the next one, the one by Jackson and the Italian man, I assume the Italian person, have their names and a certain velocity. But all the same, like I said, that's just a bit of it's kind of annoying. But I still enjoyed the book nonetheless, on the whole. Our opening story is, it sets where that opening letter feels like it's definitely part of that setting the tone. Your first story itself is always going to be a tone setter for a short story collection or anything similar like that, like a poetry collection, anything. You want your first one to really set the tone. And our first one follows a little girl who is at a race course, and Blobby and Noel show up. Absolutely terrifying. Apparently she calls him the creature at first. What is it she calls him later on as well? It sounds like it's really reverent. Oh, his pinkness. I love that. I don't know if it's that is how she's saying it. It's they came in in a polka-dotted helicopter. Noel Edmonds and the creature. People swarmed, frenzied, clamouring for autographs and a chance to touch. I stared. It was him, his pinkness, the anarchic poxed troll beast of Saturday night entertainment, lord of misrule here in this field where I also stood. I love the way this is written. This is written like a terrifying old Victorian journal kind of thing. It's so wonderful. It continues. His polyphonic hell screeching was absent. I had known abstractly that the blob must be a man in a suit, but seeing the actual seams in his facade still felt revelatory. He was mortal, and I could prove that. I could steal his power away right there. I grabbed at rubber leg flesh and pulled. It was a mistake. I love the way this one is written. It's so just, like I said, it sounds like an old Victorian journal, which I think is so cool. And it really sets this ridiculous tone, because you have that juxtaposition of this reverence of his pinkness and what is the one bit, the anarchic pox troll beast of Saturday night entertainment, lord of misrule here in this field where I also stood. Really juxtaposed with the fact that this is about Mr. Blobby, and the fact that he comes and gets her as the monster under her bed kind of thing. It's such a good start. And yeah, that first one is by Sarah Gordon. I'm not going through everything, but I am gonna talk about bits here and there. And it is genuinely a little bit, they are all, for the most part, they are all genuinely, they have frightening elements, but it is hard to be scared when it's the blob and you know what I mean? It's hard to be actually genuinely frightened. The concepts themselves are frightening. The second story here, I am gonna actually, I might just go through each story. I'm just gonna chat here for a bit. The second story is basically, we see that Blobby is kind of washed up by now. the career has ended and Noel shows up as God, or as he's called here, the creator, and basically Noel says, it's like, no, you pink fool, they hate you as much as they ever did. He just fucking kills himself. Blobby sends himself. I can't work out if Blobby ends it, which I think is the idea, or if Noel sent him down. But yeah, absolutely wonderful. Here we have a couple of stories which are, I need to find who this is by, because again, oh, this is Tom Smith, I think. Yeah, we have a couple of stories, not here, we have two, but we have one here and one later, where we have the idea of like urban explorers. I assume like here there's somebody exploring the studios where it was, and later on it's the old theme park. Both absolutely brilliant, both chock full of other references. I think it's both of them. Oh no, it's this one that's chock full of like other references to things, and it is thoroughly ridiculous. I will keep out who is mentioned, because I do think you should read this, because I think it's so funny and so silly. And I know I'm just like kind of flicking through this. That's just like, it's just fun to do it like this, just like sit and talk and chat, because I don't do stuff like this very much. I don't think I've done an unscripted full video in so long, but this is nice. This is chill. This next one I enjoyed because it's just like, I really love the style of it. It's very, I can't explain it. It's kind of like illustrations that you would see in a children's book, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that as a genuine positive, because it feels so simple and childlike in it, but then also you've got a man getting axed by Mr. Blobby, and also he looks kind of cute. Like, he looks like a little pudding. I also love that this is the start of another running theme throughout, where Blobby can turn you into his kind. Sorry, as I'm going through, I'm taking out all my sticky pads, but he's kind of cute. Like, I will show you the final panel here, where somebody gets turned into Mr. Blobby. Well, like the final pages, rather. And I think he's kind of cute. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I think he is. I mean, to be fair, I do kind of like cast creatures. I mean, you've seen my cat. Yeah, I can't remember if I said, I know it's in the back, a couple of these are just illustrations rather than full stories. I think they're fun. They're not my favourite part. That is no critique to the illustrators themselves. These are fun. We have some movie references here. I don't know all of them. I think there are two of them that I don't really get. Hang on, I'll put a picture in of this page, so I'll leave, no, I'll just get it up and show you. Why not? There we go. So the ones I don't know, if I just rest on my chest there, that might work. The ones I don't know is this one. I don't know that. And I don't know this one. And I don't know if that's just because it's been blobified, or I just don't know the reference. I think this one's my favourite, though. Or this one. I think these two are the cute ones. I know Blobby is not cute, but also Blobby's cute. He's a weird little beast. And I will forever love that video of him just ruining Jack Whitehall's day. Oh, this one. This one was so out of our field. Everything else is, it's usually colourful, kind of cute. Obviously we have a lot of pinks and yellows in the theming. But then this one looks like this. Not this panel. This page. These are just the pages that I was talking about earlier with like, here's what was on the previous page, here's what was on the next page. But like, that is such a juxtaposition to everything else. I'm going to keep saying juxtaposition. I've been watching too much Do We Know Them. Jessie Smiles is getting in my brain. But this one was the one that I actually found frightening of all of them. Partly because it isn't funny, like, at all. It's just terrifying. And it's only sort of blobby. And I don't say that in a mean way. I mean, like, that's the Blobby we get. Which is obviously not as noticeably blobby as everything else. But I think it's really cool. That one really, like, hit me in a way that a lot of the other ones didn't. Can you get out, please? And the next one, I said I wasn't going to go through this, and I just have. But the next one I did really enjoy. I think this might be one of my favourites because I really like the style. Partly because this is when I picked it up, I was flicking through it, and I was like, oh, this really reminds me. I didn't know that it was a collection. I just flicked through and happened to find it on this page. And I was like, oh, this really reminds me of one of my friends' art. Like, it's not her, but it really reminds me of her style. And it's just, it's scrungly and nasty and just like, oh, I love it. And it's another one where we have, like, the idea of being able to be blobbed kind of thing. I actually really wish I hadn't have said that out loud. But the idea that Blobby can take over you as some kind of horrible beast. The Last House Party, I don't really remember this one too much. Oh, where he's, like, feeding him. It's a good one, but I really like the last panel of this one. But I don't remember it too much. It's, like, they're all good, but some of them are less memorable. That's going to happen when you have a large collection. And we have another of the illustrations here. I really like the last panel of this, and here we have Nightmare Blobby Dentist. I don't know if that's a reference to something as well, or if that is just terrifying on purpose. I mean, these are all meant to be scary on purpose, but you know what I mean. We have the other, I was talking about, we have a pair of Urban Explorer ones. I really like the idea of Urban Explorers. Obviously, a few years ago, it probably would have been like ghost hunting as a thing, whether it be ghost hunting YouTubers, like these guys are, like urban exploring influencers, or it would have been like ghost hunting TV shows or things like that, or like web shows or whatever. And I really like that as a grounding thing, as like the basis of things, and I think it works really nicely. And this one is, I feel like the last panel of this really sticks out. Yeah, okay, so I don't know if this is like a reference to something, or it just reminds me of something, and that's not me being like, oh, he's just using something else or whatever. Hang on. I can't work out what it reminds me of, but it really reminds me of something. And I know these aren't like super in-depth reviews, but this is a book about Blobby being a horror. Oh yeah, the next one, I don't understand it. Again, I don't know if it's a reference to something, but this page is the whole thing. I don't know, but I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know, I mean, obviously this is all absurd, but I don't know if it is just meant to be that, but I was just confused by it. Oh, this next one. This one is one of my favourites for a number of reasons. One, the style. Is that right? Yeah. What? Sorry for showing my big head there, but I was like, I put my mic in the wrong place, so I had to make sure you could actually see it. It's really reminiscent of Peanuts. I think that's so cute. And this is another, like, become Blobby one. This was one that, like, really found that balance between absurd and frightening. Because, again, this being a become Blobby one, we're kind of used to it. But, like, he's a kid at school who, it's his birthday, and his mum's brought a cake, and it's a Blobby cake, and he doesn't want to eat the Blobby cake. And then, like, as everybody else is eating the cake is like, don't you want to eat it? And then the cake is don't you want to eat it? And everybody else is turning into Blobby, being like, come on, just eat the best part, eat the head. And it's all like, rah, rah, no, stop it. We have some illustrations next, really cool. I particularly like, so we have them both here. I particularly like this one because I like the little hands. I think that's terrifying. I think that's awful. 10 out of 10. I just little creature hands. It's always like a little, oh. In the same way that I think like bug legs and stuff always get me. That really just like, bleh, bleh, bleh. Oh, really lovely inking style for this one. For this next one. I was meant to be like talking about who did each one, and I just haven't because I'm shit at my job. This is not the way I was planning on doing this video, but then I was like, I don't want to do scripting today, because I'm doing, like, shorter content. Like, well, I'm talking about shorter stuff. But yeah, lovely inking style for that. Really scratchy and, like, that is it. It is just inks. I really enjoyed this one. Mostly for the art style. Another Become Blob, if I remember correctly. Yeah, another Become Blob, and it is just wonderful. There's something kind of delightful about it. I think we're on the last one, if I remember correctly. Yeah, we're on the last one here. One that it really reminds me of, is it lino printing? Where you, like, make stamps. I don't know if it's actually done like that, but it's designed to look like that if it's not. Really wonderful. Another one focusing on Noel. Which is... Hang on, get off. Thank you. Get off. Bloody sticky tabs. It's him sort of, again, overcoming the past, dealing with the blob, and it's a really nice way to round out, basically. I think it really got me because he's on Deal or No Deal again. It's been revamped, which I can't remember if that did happen recently. I don't know if it was with him, but I feel like that did happen. But yeah, Deal or No Deal's been revamped, and he gets a call from the banker, but it's not the banker, it's Mr. Blobby, and he's summoned him. And it just kills me. It's so good. And the thing is, I am too young to remember Noel's House Party and whatever, like, that. I didn't know there was a fucking theme park. And I don't know if it is still abandoned with nothing left there, or if it has just been knocked down and taken over kind of thing. But that sounds terrifying in it, like, as a live thing. You know when people talk about, oh, if I could go back in time, I would go to XYZ place. If I could go back in time, I'm going to the Blobby theme park. Because that sounds horrendous. But yeah, Noel has left Blobby to die, and there's like a Blobby... Oh no, that's not the last one. My mistake. Yeah, basically Noel's left Blobby to die, and they have to feed from him. And I say they. Read it for yourself and find out. The last one is another one where I was like, oh, that's actually terrifying. So I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna read this to you as you've seen it, so I can just show you that there. Not the big panel, again, that's just one of the illustrations, I think by Erica Price. Mr. Blobby runs out onto the stage, pounding his head and screaming, "Blobby, Blobby, Blobby." Everybody laughs. Oh, such a silly Mr. Blobby. Inside the suit, the prisoner screams, but the electronic filters change his pleas to "Blobby, Blobby, Blobby." Inside the suit, the prisoner screams as he is repeatedly pricked with syringes full of digestive juice. On stage, Mr. Blobby loses control of his legs. Everybody laughs. His legs buckle at the knee, and his torso, now unsupported, crashes to the ground. Oh, such a silly Mr. Blobby. Inside the suit, the prisoner is now mostly liquid. Through clever design, there's just enough left of him to continue screaming. Everybody laughs. Such a silly Blobby. Fantastic way to end the book. Like I said, one of the ones that's just like actually terrifying. Just like no balance between this is funny and it's just like, oh no, that's actually like Christ alive. I also have, I will take a picture of this and put it up. It's all the artists and authors who are in there. I don't have, I don't know why I just said that. Why am I stupid? Anyway, some of them aren't active and some of them have slightly different names, but you will still be able to find them if you search for what's there. So yeah, that's cool. I went through a bit of a following everybody just to like, it also means I can keep up with some cool artists and things like that. I also like the ending here of this work is intended as parody and not as an accurate representation of any person or character depicted within. I should think so, not least of all because Noel Edmonds has his Bingus out in one of them. Also, yes, my camera might look a bit different because I've now got my phone a different way. I ran out of storage halfway through reading that last story, so I'm probably going to take a short break before reading the next one. Not reading the next one, talking about the next one. I'm so tired. Technology isn't working for me, and that always sends me into a spiral. So I'm gonna go and play some silly little farming simulator for a while, and then I will come back to you. Or it'll be tomorrow. If you see me in different clothes, it's tomorrow, because I decided to go, you know what? This isn't worth the stress. I'll see you soon. Hello, yes, it is the next day. I wasn't meant to be doing this the next day. I did also say that it might happen. You can tell I'm in completely different clothes. But I went downstairs after everything that just kept going wrong yesterday. So I was just like, oh, I'll go downstairs, I'll play on this little farming sim that I have, and then, like I always do when I play that game, it just played for hours and hours, and then I was like, oh, I'm kind of hungry, I need food, and then I got food, and then just went straight back on the game. It's eating away at my brain, but we're here, we're back, and next up we're talking about Space Axolotl by P. Houghton. This is issue 1, Beyond the Valley of the Sock Monsters. And apparently my voice is going. That's great. Love that for me. Maybe it's just because I'm filming a little bit earlier than usual. It's 9:30 today. Usually I do some other stuff before filming for this reason, but I didn't think about that today. Yeah, this was cute. This was fun. I can't remember if I said yesterday. I think I did, where it was like the first two were from MegaCon in Manchester earlier this year. That's where I got this one from. There's no blurb on this, so I can't read that to you because I think I did with the other one. I'm so tired. But it's fine. I'll pick up energy as we go through, hopefully. I only have 2 books to talk about. But with this one, my friend was talking to one of those, like, if you go to a Comic-Con, those giant comic vendors, where it's just like 2, 3, 4 tables just full of a variety of comics, usually with some at the back which are more like valuable or whatever. But I was like, this is not for me. This is not where I find joy. I'm gonna let them keep browsing and chatting, and they also had some like business stuff to talk about, like beyond just browsing comics. But I was like, I'm gonna get bored because I'm me. So I wandered off, and well, no, I didn't wander off. I turned around because I was like, oh, what's around here? And I saw a little table with little axolotls on it. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I can still see where they are. And if they turn around, they can see me. Oh, well. That's not necessarily true, because both of us could, like, be stood in front of each other and be like, where are they? Because both of us are oblivious. But Space Axolotl, rather than just keep rinsing my friend. This is super cute. It's super fun. This is very much where the last one wasn't. This one is definitely suitable for all ages. Like, the opening page. Oh, that sounds awful. Oh, have you pulled up some of the... I fucking hate fucking sticky tabs. But I'm going to use them because otherwise I can't keep track. So we have the first pair of pages here, you can see that it's daft. You can see that it is a little bit silly. The opening page here says, in the far distant reaches of the Argyle sector lies the peaceful planet of Sockworld. Yet something sinister is at hand. Socks, known for their habit of dwelling in pairs, are waking to find that their partners have vanished without a trace. Across the gulf of space, minds immeasurably... I hate this font. Gulf? Yeah. Across the gulf of space, minds immeasurably superior to theirs, which in fairness isn't that hard, regard their hosiery with envious eyes, and slowly and surely, they draw their plans against them. We have these jellyfish attacking the people of Sockworld, stealing one halves of pairs, and our lovely heroes come to help them. I can't remember if the little robot has a name. There is a little robot, and there is the little axolotl, and they're very cute, and they're very fun. Full of dad jokes is this. I think that is, like, it's not very serious, in it, which sometimes is exactly... I mean, I'm not saying that, like, I was expecting it to be, but, like, it's super unserious. It's super cute and fun. It's, like, you fellas need a hand? A hand? Sock puppet, I see what you did there. You must flee, gentlemen. These things can't be defeated. Defeated? Like, feet. Like, it's silly. It's ridiculous. And I love it. And the character design is so cute. Like, there's this page here where these two pages really show how cute everything is. Like, get off me. Fucking sticky tabs. Look at his little face, little Axolotl's face when he's bonking. Look at him. The little bonk and the little sad face at the top there. He's so cute. I love him so much. Like, oh, I think the next page has one of my favourite jokes. So bear in mind, they're on Sockworld. And we have, mighty warriors, what are these mystical weapons? This is my... And I can't read that. It's a made-up word. It's like... It's my smacking weapon. And the little robot holds it up and goes, this is nothing more than a simple brick in a... Never mind. Like, you can see there, this is why I couldn't say that. Look at it. I can't read that. But yeah, that's brilliant. That's my sense of humour, pretty much summed up. I like simple, silly, funny. Like, it's very childish in a positive way. I don't mean that the writing is sort of juvenile or anything like that. Well, it is, but I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a, this is suitable for all readers. If you just want something simple, silly and daft, you can turn to this. If you want something that is suitable for children as well, they can read this. It's great fun. Like, none of the action in it is going to upset anybody. I don't think there's no blood, guts, violent. It's no more... I mean, I know some people don't like cartoon violence either, but it is no more violent than you would see in a simple Saturday morning cartoon for kids sort of thing. And just so much silliness. They're on these little adventures, and it leads in really nicely to what's next. Oh god, this bit. Yeah, okay, so we have two panels here. One of them, I just like the little detail of the speech being upside down, and the one directly underneath that, naughty. That's naughty. It's just the jellyfish again, obviously. But behave yourself. Another of my favourite jokes in here. The sock you like a hurricane. Banging. Again. Peak my sense of humour. I love puns. I love silly little references like that don't feel like I am making a reference. It's just that, and I love it. There's a joke about a Terry's chocolate orange. Banging. Like, you love to see it. And I do think... Oh, you've not peeled anything up this time. I do think I'm probably going to be getting volume 2 of this. Or like further volumes, because it's something I can read pretty quickly. Like, and that's not like a bonus necessarily, but it's something nice that, like, because I've said that I'm not reading Is it actually picking up on my microphone? Yeah, it is. Sorry, I just thought I hadn't plugged it in for a second. Because I'm not reading later volumes, stuff like that is nice to just, like, I can pack it in a bag if I'm going somewhere. I can read it for a bit of a journey. Because, like, the book that I'm reading at the minute, most of the chapters are pretty short, but some of them are much longer, and I hate stopping in the middle of a chapter. So if I'm only driving somewhere, well, I'm not driving. If I'm being driven somewhere for an hour, I'm usually taking a fucking bus. But if it takes me an hour to get there, I don't know if I can finish a chapter in that time. So then I have to get off the bus and find somewhere to sit down and fucking read. Because I hate finishing not in a chapter unless there's a good scene break. I'll finish at a scene break, that's fine. But generally speaking, I haven't noticed that many in this as far as I can remember in the book that I'm reading at the minute. Not for reviews, but it has been a very good book. What's it called again? Just a little side tangent. This is it. I should probably, yeah. So it's What You Are Looking For Is in the Library by Michiko Ayama. I'm not 100% sure. Aoyama. It's been really fun so far, and I have been really enjoying it. I was just like, oh, I want something simple and kind of cozy for reading by myself, but the next chapter has been quite long, so I've kind of been putting it off for a bit, and I need to get back on it. But yes, like I said, something short and simple and lots of fun, and just like, okay, I don't have to think about this for a while. It's a little bit of a brain off moment, and that isn't like a critique. Sometimes it is just simple and daft, and it's like, I don't know if it's explicitly for kids, but it's suitable for them as well. So it's just like simple, family friendly fun. It's like the same thing as watching shows or films that you watched as when you were a kid. It's like, it's simple, you can just go and done. But finally, Dolphin Squad, Heroes of the Sea by Danny J. Weston. Like I said, you okay, Zelda? I think she's seen some bugs outside or something. She sat on my window having a lovely time. But she's like, so there's probably bugs outside the window that she can see, and she's having a lovely time with it. Because I can't see any birds. She does love bird watching on here though. Anyway, I picked this up at Wales Comic Con a couple of years ago. And I do distinctly remember him trying to sell me like a little bundle with the first few volumes. I did just end up getting this one. And I'll be honest, I really enjoyed this, but I am kind of glad that I just got the one. Sorry, I heard somebody outside. Okay, that's cool. Don't worry. Somebody that I know. I'm not just like, oh, there's somebody in the house. I'm okay. But I am kind of glad that I only got the one. I enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun. But it's not something that I would turn back to particularly. It was, like I said, it was really good fun. I like the opening stuff. So we open up with a fictional history of the Dolphin Squad, which I think would have been best served at the end. I think have the comic itself first and have this as like a closer. But either way, it's brilliantly put together. We have like that this was originally published in the 60s, I think they said, or something like that. Like, this is all fictional, like I said, but it was like this whole history of the original author of this, and just like, oh, there's scandals and all this sort of thing. It's great. There's a oh, this is grim. So there is a fake little cereal ad. Let me show you that first. Is it there? Yeah. And it is by Clogged, which did get me, and it's tuna flavoured toasted oat cereal. That, oh, I think it was the, like, I don't even think it was the fact that it says it's tuna flavoured. I think it was the phrase turns the milk salty. Oh, grim. But it's got, like, you know, how it was turned to the screen, all this merch and all this sort of stuff. Really well done. Like I said, I do think it would have been better served at the end, but it is great. It's a great little extra sort of thing. But yeah, we are following them as their... Oh, this is that stupid shiny magazine paper, so I might end up peeling some bits off. Unfortunate, because of the sticky tabs. So, hello Lily, you hanging out with Miss Zelda? Wonderful. Zelda's gonna make Lily soggy because she cleaned her head and Lily ends up wet. You alright? I've got to make sure they don't gain a scrap. I filmed this multiple times. Well, not this, but when I was doing the initial intro to it, where it was the longer intro, rather than doing it like this, I had to film it once, and then they got into a scrap halfway through, so I filmed it again, and then I had technical issues, so then I filmed it a third time, and that was the one that went out, and then I've ended up binning that anyway, to do this version. But anyway, there is a new game coming out by Innuendo, and it basically, it's run by, Innuendo is being run by this guy, what's he called? Why can't I remember? The evil supervillain. If I find his name again, I will say it. But he is basically up against the Dolphin squad, and he's trying to make everybody hate them. So if you play this game, you get hit, or any of the... Oh no, it's not a new game, is it? It's a new game system, and if you play any of the games on the system, you get hypnotised into hating and trying to kill the Dolphin squad. It is a lot of references that are fine, I will say. They're not like... It's the sort of thing where it's like, the shop is called Game of Pwns, like PWNS. It's LOL News instead of Fox News. We have Innuendo rather than Nintendo. The pizza place is Domingos rather than Domino's. Zelda, her head is wet! Yeah, there are a lot of references like that. Like, it's very clear that the supervillain has, like, Windows XP on his thing. They're fine. They don't get in the way. Which I think... When you are doing silly references, also, like, there's at least one guy in the queue that's a reference to something, because he looks like, what's his face from Breaking Bad? Walter White, with the hat and the beard, like, is that when he's Heisenberg? I've watched season 1, and I don't even remember if I finished that, because I just wasn't that into it at the time. I should try it again, I probably would enjoy it now, but I didn't at the time. Yeah, like, I like that the references don't get in the way, which I think they can in a lot of nerd media. It can be a lot of, like, in your face. Well, this is what you like. These are the things that you like. Whereas it's more like little puns and silly little references here. One of the dolphins exclusively speaks in Morse code. I put it into a translator, and it seems to be, if I remember rightly, it is E's and A's or E's and I's. It's dolphin noises, which is very funny. The designs of them are very cute, and there are some wonderful little shots of them looking super cute. Hang on. This one. I love his little face. I love him little face so much. That's why he's looking into the game device, because the thing that sets everybody else is that he's just got the new Innuendo, and I can't remember what the actual game device they called it. The Fun Boy, of course. The Innuendo Fun Boy. But yeah, that's him looking into the game camera, and it's so good. He's got such a good face. I think lots of the moments like that, they just have, like, really good little angles of their faces. I think that's one of my favourite aspects of this, is a lot of the design stuff, and it is just, like, silly fun. But yeah, we get them scrapping in the restaurant, in the pizza place, because he's been hypnotised, because he's been playing the game, and that's what sets off everything else. Again, when I talk about the silly angles, look at this. Is that in shot? Yeah, it's close enough. Just big, silly angles and things like that. I think that's one of my favourite bits. It's all daft. And, like, again, this was great fun. It's just not something that I would find myself now turning back to. I think if I'd have read this and I don't mean like read this at the time when I got it. I think if I'd have read this when it came out, because I saw when I was opening this that it came out in 2015. If I'd have found it then, I would have eaten this up. I'm not in these nerd spaces, like in this kind of nerd space, in the way that I was then. Like when I was like 16, 17, I'm in sort of different spaces. This is just like a very different vibe to what I'm into now, which is cool, which is fine. But I like it. I like the jokes. I like it. I like the little references. I like the character design. It's all very daft, but I'm just not finding myself wanting to turn back to it. The little character designs for the original squad that Laser Eye was in, like when he became Laser Eye, these are so cute and fun. Hey! Do you want to sit with me? Baby. No. No, you can't go that way. For no apparent reason. She just jumped on Lily and attacked her. What's wrong with you? Are you just blocking the door with your fat little body now? Wonderful. Dickhead. But yes, the character designs here. I particularly like the little, is it a sea cucumber or a sea slug? Oh, a sea anemone. I'm not Nemo, and I'm not going to try and fucking say it. But I think these got me a lot. I like stupid disguise things. For whatever reason, the leader of them, like the human leader there, just in his pants. I can't remember if that's brought up. Oh, speaking of Nemo, the van that they're in when they're going on this like early mission. This isn't the Dolphin Squad, like I said. This is Laser Eye's first mission, how he became Laser Eye. The van that they're in is hiding Nemo. The car that they use is like a J McClane with very clearly Bruce Willis's face on it. Sorry, my brain just fell out for a second. And then we've just... Is there anything else that I've like that particularly stood out here? They're on these missions. It's all very fun. There's a character called Houghton who is led on a table. Somebody yells Houghton and then gets hit with a steel chair. And I was like, oh, I see what you're doing. But then later on, I was like, oh, this Houghton is a different reference, because this is a killer whale who ends up with a metal skeleton and claws. And because it is an orca, it's fucking Whalevery. Which again, very silly, very funny. I would have eaten this up when I was in sixth form or like at the beginning of uni. It's just ridiculous. And I was like I said, I didn't not enjoy this. I really did. I just can't see myself reading more of it. And I like how it's put together. It finishes out, like, the book itself, rather than the story itself, finishes out with some, like, music stuff. Like, there's clearly a lot of extra work that's been put into it, other than, like, the standard amount of work you would need to put into to put just a comic together. I like this final bit where the one who only speaks in Morse code is on a talk show. And you've sort of got the bit where it's like whenever he's talking, there would be subtitles on the screen, like on the TV screen. But the other two are always like covering it up in various ways. It's a really nice little touch. It's like a silly little joke. Yeah, like I said, I don't know what it was, because I did really enjoy it. But I just can't see myself reading more, which I think I had that in the last video where I was talking about orcs. Sometimes you can just go, I've enjoyed this book. I can't see myself reading more in its vein. But I think I will be picking up some more of the Axolotl stuff, and I think if I remember rightly, he had some little cute stickers and things like that. So if I do end up buying more, Sorry, thought there was something on my leg. If I do end up buying more, I'll probably get myself some little treats because I fucking love stickers. But that about wraps things up, and hopefully this is like still a relatively short video. I spoke about those two a lot quicker than I did Blobby, but I think that's just because Blobby is made up of so much other stuff rather than it being one long story. Well, neither of those two are particularly long, but you know what I mean. Next week, we're finally moving away from comics. We're still on library books. Well, none of these were library books, but I have so many to go through. Kill me. But yeah, we're looking at Bored Gay Werewolf by Tony Santarella. Shall we read what this is about? Brian, an aimless slacker in his 20s, works double shifts at his waiter job, never cleans his apartment, and gets blackout drunk with his restaurant comrades, Nick and Darby. He's been struggling to manage his transition to adulthood almost as much as his monthly transitions into a werewolf. Really, he is not great at the whole werewolf thing, and his recent murderous slip-ups have caught the attention of Tyler, a millennial were entrepreneur determined to explore exponential growth strategies in the mythological wellness market. Tyler has got a plan, and he wants Brian to be part of it. And weirdly, his brand of self-help punditry actually encourages Brian to shape up and stop accidentally marking out bad tippers at the restaurant as potential monthly victims. But as Brian gets closer to Tyler's pack and drifts further away from Nick and Darby, he realises that Tyler's expansion plans are much more nefarious than a little lupine enlightenment. Big-hearted, goofy, anarchic, funny, Bored Gay Werewolf is a smart take on the doomsday logic of late capitalism and the complicated meeting point of masculinity and sexuality. More than that, though, and like Scooby-Doo with Grindr or Stranger Things with Sex and Ennui, it's a buddy novel about finding your pack, the power of friendship, and learning how to be comfortable in your own shaggy werewolf pelt. Part of me did get this because my friend has been talking about reading it, and I wanted to kind of review that for them. And also, it was like, I am reading enough horror at the minute to be like, I can satiate that, but this is still like, werewolves are on that like Halloween adjacent. Lily, do you mind making horrible mouth noises, please? Like, werewolves are on that like Halloween side of things. So I figured this was like a good time of year to be reading something like this. But yeah, I don't know what else to talk about now. I'm probably also going to be reading more Ito stuff soon. So look forward to that, because I won't shut the fuck up about him, apparently. But I can't remember how I usually end these videos. That's it. Feel free to like, feel free to subscribe, and feel free to put your notifications on and all that other cringy shit that I'm supposed to ask you to do. Tell me what indie books that you found, either at Comic-Cons or separately. That can either be people who are self-published, people who are published under indie publishers, that kind of thing, stuff that you found at Comic-Cons. Please, none of those weird parody romance things that are blowing up on TikTok. I've already seen that there's one about a door and that there's one about a long Furby. Maybe one day I will cover those, but I don't know that I'm ready for that. I already read, not a parody, but I already read for when I was doing these written, what's it called? Ice Planet Barbarians? That was a lot. And that side of things, I'm just like, this isn't for me. Oh no, man, I like reading things that I like. I mean, I know in the relatively distant future I have a few books coming up where I'm like, yeah, I want to do some more Bad Rep Book Club type stuff, but I also know that they take ages to do. But we'll get there when we get there, because we are quite a ways away from that lot. Yeah, let me know what indie stuff that you've been reading or that you have read, that kind of thing, because I'm always looking to expand my indie collection, because it's always good to support independent artists. But most importantly, I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, a wonderful whenever you are watching this. Take good care of yourself. Right.